Good morning. This is part one of our Garden Club stitch videos. This morning we're going to be going through a number of stitches. We're going to start with the very basic stitches just because that's where you need to start so that you can get going, and then we're going to move into a couple stitches that are you may not be as familiar with. I'm using my linen practice piece that I've divided into 12 blocks to represent the 12 months of the block of the month. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw some lines. We're going to do our basic stitches. We're going to start with a running stitch, then the back stitch, and then a stem stitch. So if you would, with a pencil, draw lines across here, I spaced them about a quarter of an inch apart. And then down here at the base, you're going to draw two lines that are also a quarter inch apart, and we're going to use that for our herringbone stitch. I'm using a 12 weight pearl cotton by Oral Fill, and I'm using a Crewel number 9 needle. I saw Kathy Schmitz do this online. This was kind of cool because sometimes I have trouble threading a needle. You stick the end of your thread between your two fingers where you can see it and the eye of your needle. Then you just kind of pinch, and it pretty much threads every time. If you struggle with it, I recommend a needle threader. The first stitch is a running stitch because we use it with everything, and it's a right to left stitch. And you want to keep your stitch length, the biggest thing is to keep your stitch length consistent. So the best way to do that is to load your needle with several stitches at a time. You also want to make sure that the stitch on top is actually a little bit longer than the stitch on the back. It just gives it a nice consistency when you do that. Oops. I'm going to say and that's a nice line of running stitches, and then you take your needle to the back. When I'm ending, I make a little knot back here, bring it to the back, make your knot right there, pull it. And that was my running stitch.